Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Welcome, guys. Today we're going to be discussing why the traditionalists are afraid of philosophy. Is philosophy bad? Is it evil? Is it pagan? All this kind of stuff. You must have read people saying this. And given the context of this video, I'm replying to this video I just saw by Brother Sajid, where he's talking about philosophy and stuff. And I went to the comment section and I saw what a lot of people were saying there. Some people are like, yeah, it's okay. Some people are like, it's evil. This misguidance or something like this. Now, can we use philosophy in religion? Is it haram? All this kind of stuff. I'm going to be going over it, okay? Now, to even answer this question, because it depends on your definition of philosophy. Most people that talk about philosophy have no idea whatsoever what it is, okay? They've never actually took the time to do the work and study this stuff. So they will just have a very dismissive outlook on it and say, you know what, I don't want to have any business to do with that. It's just like someone that doesn't like math. So you're like, I don't like math, I don't care, leave me alone. Okay, something like this. Now, to answer this question, we need to use logic and reason. If I ask you, is it bad or is it good? You think about it. A lot of people always say common sense. What is common sense? Common sense is either induction or deduction. If you break it down, to me, simply put, philosophy is when you, instead of just saying something, you analyze it and you systemize it into a concept. So, for example, I told you, giving A, B, then B, okay? Or giving B, then A. For example, if it storms today, we'll find leaves all around the garden, okay? Then, if I said, if you find leaves all over the garden, we can say, then it must have rained. These are the kind of induction and deduction we do every day. Or law of identity. Now, getting into it, who are the traditionalists? Okay, this is very important. The traditionalists are not just Muslims. You have Christian traditionalists and you have Muslim traditionalists. Are they bad people? Especially given Islamic, whatever. They are not bad people. They are good people. However, most of them are ignorant of other people's position and then they generalize. Okay, that is the only problem I see with them. It's not that their position is wrong. It's just that they dismiss other people, which makes it wrong, okay? So now, let me show you why this is problematic, to dismiss philosophy as wrong, okay? The traditionalist Christians, I would like to give you this example. If you're a Muslim and you believe Islam is the truth, right? Now imagine a Christian, okay, that says Jesus is God. The traditionalists, they say this. The hardcore Christian traditionalists, okay, they'll say Jesus is God. And then they will say, that's it. That's what, and you be like, it doesn't make sense. And you give some kind of reasoning. They're like, you know what? Our reason is fallible. Our reason is not sufficient. God is beyond us. So given that, Jesus is God. Tell me what will be the restriction. What can't you say? You can absolutely say whatever you want using this kind of position of our reason cannot get to it. So therefore, whatever we say, you accept it. Listen to what the people of knowledge have said. The people of knowledge in those kind of religion or ideology, if people were to listen to them, they will not see the truth of Islam also. So which one are we going to use here? Are we going to say just because our reason is we cannot know everything, therefore anything we know is false? No, we need to use our reason, and anyone calling away from this is actually, to me, this is a very dangerous and weird position, okay? Now, traditionalists have always bashed philosophy as evil, paganistic, wild speculation, etc. Even though this might be true for some usage of philosophy, yes, to class or generalize the entire sphere is self-refuting, okay? Because to class the entirety of logic and reason as philosophy and therefore false, okay? Even all this it's just, when you say common sense, it's philosophy. But you have not systemized your philosophy. You don't know what is this kind of argument or what is that kind of argument. You just think it comes naturally and you're using it. Fine. Because the philosophers are not developing something new. They're just using what other people might have missed and then they systemize it and call it a name. For example, the law of identity. Everyone uses this. The law of identity. A is A. If I told you A is A, you're like, what does that even mean, bro? It's not that difficult. A is A just means a thing is identical to itself. Now, this can be applied in many other whatever field you want to use it. But these are kind of stuff. And A is not equal to not A, for example. These are philosophical terms, but if you're not interested in this kind of stuff, stay away from it. No one is forcing you to do that. But to now go and say, this is paganistic. What is paganistic about love identity? Okay? By the way, this is from Aristotle. Okay, so does that mean it's false just because it's from Greek? Absolutely ridiculous, guys. This is not true. Now, let me give you some meanings of philosophy that you might, so that you'll be able to understand it. I told you, philosophy, especially related to, since we are talking about Islam, okay, it will be like analytic theology. Okay, theology is a philosophy. Any school or system of knowledge, they have some kind of methodology. If you have a methodology that you always use, okay, we use the ijma of the scholars and we look at the earliest kind of scholars that said something, this kind of methodology that you think is just so common sense. Why is it that other people don't get it? Okay, you think it's so true, but other people don't agree with you. Okay, you need to make a case for that position. And in philosophy, everyone is allowed to make their own case. And then you show the weakness or the strength of your argument. And therefore, you can be classed as, and everyone choose whatever they want, okay, at the end of the day. So now, I will say that most people are just skeptical about philosophy or just disinterested in the work you have to put in, okay? Because you have to work, you have to read stuff, you have to think on your own. So most people, they don't want to do this work, so they just dismiss it, okay? Or they are scared of the possibility of accepting teachings that could turn out to be false, okay? Giving salvation. Because everyone wants to be saved, right? Everyone wants to go to, and by the way, I'm speaking broadly of all traditionalists, Christian or Muslim, because I talk about Christianity on my channel, okay? And I've seen these people every time that will tell you that don't use reason. You are using too much of reason. We believe God is beyond us, therefore Trinity is true. They use this kind of argument. So what do you say? Most people call this kind of people Mysterians, or they are anti-human reason, basically. And you as a Muslim, you need to use reason to prove Islam to someone else. When you are using this, it's better to have it in a systematized or in an orderly manner that someone will be able to digest and pick out where you are wrong or something like this. So anyway, they are scared of accepting teachings that could turn out to be false, okay? Which is understandable. That people are, you know what, I think I should stay with these scholars because then they are people of knowledge. I don't want to go on my own and start interpreting things subjectively. So I can understand that. But to now say people that are not doing that, or people that are going out to actually do the work, that all of them, they are saying nonsense, or they are dismissed, misguided, this is false, okay? Now, another thing I would like to stress is this. Most of them don't realize that even this skeptical or abstaining kind of approach to any form of analytic way of reasoning, this kind of dismissal of this, like, hey, just read what is clear in the scripture. The scripture says this, therefore this. Even the scripture, people interpret it in different ways. So this argument of this is what the scripture say, just see, if you've talked to people from other religion, you will see why this is not something that you can be preaching anyhow. If you go and talk to a Christian that only believes in the scripture, say, this is what the scripture say, I'm telling you, when he's telling you that, he already has ways of interpreting it in his own way that will suit him. So if you want to use scripture, you're going to lose because he's just going to interpret it however he wants. Okay? But reason or theology is a position everyone takes. Okay, what is your position on this? What is your position on that? That's how we can argue it out in a very sensible way that everyone will be able to see clearly who is making a better argument or not. Okay, not this is my own interpretation of this verse. This is your own interpretation, and then what? Okay, guys. So, what else I want to touch on is this. Theology itself is philosophy. Okay, because you are deriving teachings from the scripture. And it's done using analytical reasoning, which is philosophy, okay? Even historical reliance on previous, generation and all this stuff is reasonable. If something is reasonable, you're using your reason, and it's philosophy. You see how broad it can be. It can, because any methodology, okay? Any argument you are presenting, okay? Why is this hadith true? You are saying because of A, B, C. You think it's common sense? Why can't everybody on the street do it? Why is it that it's some people of knowledge? Don't you know that there's a structure around knowledge? There's a methodology that some people have to put in place so that people will not just be making wild speculations. Therefore, that is philosophy too, in a way. Okay, so it depends on how you define philosophy. If you define philosophy in your very, very close-minded scope of only Greek philosophy, and why is Greek philosophy wrong? Why don't you make a video refuting Greek philosophy? If you think you are good, you are so sensible, why don't you make a video? You don't even understand it to even refute it. That's the problem. Just because everyone is saying, it's Greek philosophy, why don't you take on the challenge and do us all a favor and say, this is why this is wrong? I'm not saying everything they've said is correct, but most of these guys never even said that. They just gave their own position. If you like it, you accept it. If you don't like it, you leave it. But it's not everything that they say that is false, okay? And even to say that all of it is false, I already said it is self-refuting, okay? Now, what else I want to touch on is this. So let me just list some reasons, other reasons why traditionalists might be scared of philosophy, okay? One of it is this, number one, okay? And I might have talked about some of them, but these are another list, okay? The first one is that you have to do the work. You have to reason. It's not easy for everyone to do that. It might be difficult sometimes to actually think about stuff deeply. So that's one of it, okay? It is very strict and analytical, meaning you cannot just get away with saying nonsense. You cannot get away with making weak arguments. If you make weak arguments, just like you see this video I've made, if someone is out there that understands philosophy and wants to make a video about this, he's going to say, okay, this guy, this is what he said here, this is what is the reason behind this kind of argument. This kind of work, not normal people do this. Only people that are interested in the field, okay, go out of their way to do this. So if you make wrong, emotional, weak arguments, you'll be called out. Everyone can see through you. When we're discussing philosophy, people see through you. You cannot make arguments like you cannot make emotional arguments and you get away with it. They will catch you, okay? That's why people are scared of it, okay? Distrust of human reasoning, okay? People are scared of the fallibility of human reasoning. That, okay, we human beings, we are finite. Our knowledge is finite. Fine. No, we agree. But does it mean we don't know anything whatsoever? Absolutely ridiculous, guys. And most of this fear is from salvation, which everyone should see. No one is guaranteed that they will go to Jannah. But it doesn't mean we will not do anything, we will not reason. In fact, the Quran calls us many times to reason. Afala taqilun. Reason. Okay? Now, you might think afala taqilun means following the scholars and whatever they say without thinking about it. You might think following afala taqilun means thinking about what the scholars have said, putting all of it together and pondering on it on your own to derive your own interpretation of it and see if you understand it. If you don't, do all the work that is necessary. Not just saying they said it, therefore it's true. Okay? Now, also ignorance and dogmatic following of a particular camp of reasoning or one's own subjective reasoning, thinking it to be objective. Okay? So you have your own red glass on. So everything you see is red. Now, you cannot deal with the fact that other people have blue on. So the only way both of you can come to any conclusion is if you both remove your glasses, okay, and say, what makes sense? Let's think about it. Because if both of you use your glasses, you will just be seeing red and the other guy will be seeing blue, okay? So once you think that your own position is the correct view and every other person is false, it's already over. Nothing will work for you. No amount of evidence will convince you. And by the way, this is the same with the Christian. Imagine a Christian that already has it on that Christianity is true by definition, objectively. There's no amount of evidence you can give him that will convince him. Only Allah can convince that kind of person, okay? Now, also, people that always say that scripture or tradition is clear-cut and literal, okay? They always say, you know what, it's clear-cut. Can't you see it? Everyone should be able to see it. It's so clear. These kind of people are dangerous. Imagine all these terrorists that will say, look at what Allah said in the Quran, cut off their head and do this. And you'll be like, no, that's not what it means. You have to bring out that, what you're doing, that thing that you're doing that you think is common sense, why is it not so common for other people? Why are they going out and doing all this nonsense if it was so clear? Okay? But no, these things need to be explained. You need to have a system of reading the book so that everybody will read it in the same way. Okay? So you need to recognize that. If you don't, and you think every other person is just, they are liars, or they have weakness in their heart or evil in their heart, that's why they are interpreting it not the way I am interpreting it, you have a problem, man. Unless you have a reasonable, philosophical or analytical position why their this thing is wrong. You need to show them why they are wrong, not just mere say that they're wrong because you're right. Okay, that's another one. Another one is pagan. What is it called? Origin. It's like, oh, it has pagan origin. No, fine. Maybe a lot of it has people that didn't believe in God or something like this. And by the way, some of them believe in God. Maybe they're not just Muslims or Christian by origin, but just because it's pagan, even if they are the worst human beings, does it mean they cannot say anything true? This is also wrong. Just because it's paganistic, it doesn't mean what they are saying. Like, for example, law of identity, law of non-contradiction. Is that pagan? Of course not. Now, the last one is they use it to dismiss others as wild speculators. Okay, so most people, they just say this guy is using philosophy. They've done this to me, by the way. When I was talking to a Christian and I brought out a nice written argument and I tried to use it to explain it to him, and he's like, you know what, this is philosophy, therefore it's false. End of story. Now what? This kind of person, it will not work for him if you try to reason with him. He's too emotional. He thinks you are speculating wildly. Anytime you make something make sense, it makes sense to him, but because of this kind of idea, they reject it. So with this short video, guys, I hope you're able to learn. So what should you do? Before I end this video, what should you do? Does it mean now you have to go and study philosophy? Not necessarily. However, if you see people that are doing it, okay, don't assume that they are doing it because they have weakness in their heart or to say that they're wrong. If you do that, you take a position that they're wrong, you need to provide evidence why they're wrong. A reasonable evidence, not just because this guy said is wrong. Why? Why did he say he's wrong? You don't even know. Okay, so everyone should stick to their lane. What you are good at, stay on that path. Don't go around putting your nose in everywhere where you don't understand. So I hope you get this video, and I don't know what else to say. So this is my own position on this philosophy. Can we use it in religion and all of that? So see you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.